The story of the RMS Titanic is one of the most famous maritime tragedies in history. It is a tale of human ambition, engineering achievement, and heartbreaking loss. The Titanic was a British passenger liner operated by the White Star Line, and at the time of her completion in 1912, she was the largest ship ever built. Marketed as unsinkable, she carried the hopes of modern technology but also reflected the class divisions of the early 20th century. Her tragic sinking on her maiden voyage made her name legendary. The Titanic was designed to be a floating palace. Her first-class accommodations included grand staircases, a gymnasium, swimming pool, Turkish baths, fine dining halls, and elegant suites. Wealthy passengers could enjoy meals prepared by top chefs and relax in lavish lounges, decorated with wood paneling, chandeliers, and plush furniture. Second-class passengers also traveled in comfort, enjoying amenities comparable to first class on other ships. Third-class passengers, often immigrants traveling to America, were given simpler accommodations. But even these were far better than what they might have expected on other liners of the time. The Titanic symbolized not only engineering progress but also the social inequalities of the age. The separation between first, second, and third class was strictly enforced, with different dining areas, sleeping quarters, and deck spaces. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic set out on her maiden voyage from Southampton, England, to New York City. The ship made stops at Cherbourg in France and Queenstown, now Cove, in Ireland, before heading into the Atlantic Ocean. On board were some of the wealthiest people of the era, such as American business magnate John Jacob Astor IV, British aristocrat Sir Cosmo Duff Gordon, and Macy's department store co-owner Isidore Straus. Alongside them were emigrants from Ireland, Scandinavia, and Eastern Europe, hoping to begin new lives in America. The ship carried about 2,224 passengers and crew. Spirits were high, as the Titanic was considered the pinnacle of luxury and safety. Passengers dined, socialized, and marveled at the comfort of their surroundings as the ship steamed westward. On the night of April 14, 1912, the Titanic was sailing through the North Atlantic at nearly full speed. The ocean was unusually calm, and lookouts stationed in the crow's nest had no binoculars, which made spotting icebergs difficult. At 11:40 p.m., lookout Frederick Fleet saw a massive iceberg directly ahead. He rang the warning bell and telephoned the bridge. First Officer William Murdoch ordered the ship to turn hard to port and engines reversed, but it was too late. The iceberg scraped along the starboard side, tearing open several of the ship's watertight compartments. The night of April 14, 1912, was still and cold in the North Atlantic. The unsinkable RMS Titanic, the pride of the White Star Line, had been sailing smoothly on her maiden voyage from Southampton to New York. Passengers had enjoyed music, lavish meals. Here's an iceberg, nearly invisible in the moonless night, scraped along the starboard side of the ship. To many on board, it felt like nothing more than a slight shudder. Few realized that beneath the surface, the iceberg had torn open 5 compartments of the ship's hull. Titanic was designed to survive 4 compartments flooding, but not 5. Captain Edward Smith and his officers soon understood the terrible truth. The ship was doomed. As the water rushed in, crew members hurried to wake sleeping passengers. Many refused to believe the danger. After all, newspapers had called Titanic unsinkable, and she carried lifeboats for only about half of the 2,200 people on board. Women and children were given priority, but confusion and disbelief slowed evacuation. Some lifeboats were launched half empty. In the first-class quarters, men kissed their wives and children goodbye, staying behind with remarkable composure. In steerage, immigrants hoping for a better life in America struggled to find a way to the upper decks. The ship's band, led by Wallace Hartley, played cheerful tunes to calm the passengers. Survivors later said the final song was the hymn, "Nearer, My God, to Thee." By 2:20 a.m. on April 15th, the Titanic's bow was completely submerged. Her stern rose high into the air before the massive ship split apart and sank beneath the freezing waters. More than 1,500 people died, most from hypothermia in the icy ocean. Only about 700 were rescued, pulled aboard lifeboats, or later by the RMS Carpathia, which arrived hours after the disaster. The sinking of Titanic shocked the world. People questioned how such a modern ship could fail so completely. Investigations revealed flaws, inadequate lifeboats, poor iceberg warnings, and the overconfidence of believing a ship could not sink. As a result, new maritime safety rules were created, requiring enough lifeboats for all, regular safety drills. In later years, the Titanic became more than a tragedy. It became a legend. Books, films, and documentaries told the story of courage, sacrifice, and human error. The shipwreck itself lay hidden for over 70 years until it was discovered in 1985, resting 2.5 miles beneath the ocean. Today, artifacts from the wreck are displayed in museums, reminding us of both the grandeur and the fragility of human achievement. The Titanic story is not only about loss, but also about lessons learned. It stands as a powerful symbol of ambition, human error, and the eternal struggle against nature. Even more than a century later, the echoes of that night continue to move and teach the world.